Uh-oh, there we are. What is going on, my people? Welcome back. I took a little break. We didn't miss it. I just straight up canceled it and rescheduled the previous date for this session because I was flying around and I was exhausted. Those are all my excuses, but we're back. And today we are going to be talking about like the one thing it was the most difficult for me, especially when I got into like management and got some responsibility within leading a team. And it's the thing that I naturally did that I see so many managers and leaders out there in, and it doesn't matter like what industry they're in or what level of management they're in, but it is like this time killer, this time suck, this black hole that takes all of your energy and focus. And here's the thing, it's all our fault. And so the title of today's session is I lost the thing. Let them keep their problems. So if you're out there in the omniverse, you're a repeat offender, you already know you got a question, thought, insight about, time management, time mastery, self-management. Drop your comments in the chat. If you're new, you got a question, let me know. Give me a thumbs up because I want to recognize you and address any of your questions. And so look at this. We already got the comments coming in. We got Miss Heather. How you doing, Miss Heather? Coming in from south of the equator. I don't know if you're south of the equator, but it sounds cool when I say it that way. Miss Leslie, thank you for reposting this event to your community. And I promise I'm going to give that nugget. And like for real, if I missed the mark or it's weak sauce, let me know in the chat. Like, I'd love to know how I'm doing, whether I'm delivering, over promising, and all the things. We also got Mr. Jake Jones, who is also on the other side of the equator. Look, Miss Heather does confirm. She says, yes, we are south of the equator. And I see a post coming in from LinkedIn user. And LinkedIn user, oh, that's Miss Pansy. Good morning. Pansy girl, our interview is fire and it's in process. So as soon as it comes out, folks, y'all need to keep an eye out. She is going to be on the podcast. We also got Mr. Jeremy Rivard. Mr. Jeremy, I owe you a link. I will be getting that to you soon. I can't say exactly when. Love that y'all are showing up and letting me know you're here so that I don't feel all lonely and get sad and get all up in my feelers. But first, so let's get back to the point. Again, repeat offenders, you got a question, let me know. Drop your thoughts. You got a critique, let me know. I love it because any attention is good attention in Jesse land. And so let them keep their problems. So what I want to start with is, have you ever been on a team or a part of a team or led a team and you feel like, man, people, they can't make a decision. They don't show any initiative. They're so dependent. I feel like I got to babysit and carry them and hold them by the hand all the time. If you do, if you know all about that life, leave me a thumbs up in the chat. And I want to tell you, like, you are not alone. You're not the only person that has experienced that. And I'm also going to tell you, it's largely your fault. I might get canceled for this one. And here's why. And that's why the title of today's conversation is Let Them Keep Their Problems. And I want to be ultra clear. Like, I ain't talking about ignoring people and dismissing people and saying, figure it out, deal with it on your own. I'm talking about a way to assist and support your team without taking the problem away from them, without taking ownership of the problem away from them. And so the number one mistake, the most common trip hazard that, again, I'm guilty, so no judgment here, but the number one trip hazard that I repeated for years and that I've seen people over and over and over do as they progress in their career, and it just kind of gets worse, is they give answers. They step in and they do the thing or close the idea for the person that's bringing the problem. Miss Heather says, Mine was assigned group projects in college. So if I let them eat their problems, I got a bad grade. No fun. Okay. Oh, Heather, thank you for giving me that, because that's really good material. So let's look at it in the grade perspective, right? If my team, I'm responsible for my team, and our success is a reflection on my ability to lead. So there's this major element or component of identity. There's this major element and component of status, because I, believe it or not, I'm pretty damn competitive. And like, I don't want to win. I'm freaking gonna win. The problem with that is I will pick up all the load on my shoulders and carry it across the finish line, which sounds great in the short term. So back to, oh man, we got all kinds of people showing up this morning. Thank you. Let's go back to Heather's comment, right? In school, I'm working in a group project, and if everybody doesn't do their job, or rather when they don't do their job, I'm going to get a low grade. So in the short term, it makes perfect sense to pick up the slack and do all the things and solve all the problems. But in the long term, that is not the best formula to help your team grow and expand, or more importantly, engage in their critical thinking and engage with their own agency. So in the short term, I want to answer the problem, right? I want to answer the question. Somebody brings an issue. Hey, Jess, I got da. Yeah, do this, do that, do this, do that. I got all the answers. I'm the leader. I'm the boss. What happens is they become dependent on me, because anytime they have any kind of issue, they know, well, you know what? I'll just go to Jesse. Jesse has the answer. And eventually they become dependent upon me for the answer. So give me a high five or a slap in the face emoji if you know about that life. I'm going to continue on and explain like how this ties to like time management and self-management after I give a shout out to all these ballers that are showing up. We got Mr. Clyde King. What's up, Clyde? Miss Elizabeth Ponce, she says, yes, it's my fault. Elizabeth is awesome, folks. Y'all need to, if y'all ain't already connected, y'all need to be connected. Mr. Edmund coming in from the other side of the world. What's up, brother? Mario says, what's up, Jesse? Mr. Kenneth, savoring the flavor. Oh, look, we got Yesenia here. Oh, man, it's a party today. Okay. So back to the point, right, is what does this have to do with time management? When I answer everybody's questions, I create dependency. And if you don't believe me, try it. I promise it's true. And when I create dependency, everybody on my team is going to be coming to me for the answers all the time. How does that affect time management? Well, I got stuff that I need to be working on. And every time they come for a little bitty answer with a little bitty problem, that disrupts my flow, my focus on the things that I need to be getting done. One of our previous conversations was about focus fuel. And so every time I break off of a task or something that I'm working on, that's an extra expenditure of focus fuel. And I'm going to run out, and I'm going to, we'll go back and watch that replay to understand what we're talking about in terms of focus fuel. But I start getting irritated with my people. I start getting frustrated. Like, why don't they try harder? Why don't they take any initiative? How can I soar with the eagles when I'm surrounded by turkeys? Like, if you know that life, I'm telling you, take a pause and examine. When people come to you with their problem, with the thing, and you give them an answer, take an inventory of that, like for real. Or if you want to be like extra courageous, go ask your people like, hey, do I cut you off when you're talking to me? Do I let you finish your thought or your question when I bring stuff to you? They might be a little, it's not that bad. If they do that, it's like, yep, guilty. And so then the question becomes like, okay, but I'm the leader, kind of like Heather said earlier. I want to get a good grade. And if these monkeys here ain't doing their thing, I'm going to get a bad grade, and I don't want a bad grade. What do? So for me, what I had to do was this. I had to focus on two things. One, shift my time horizon of gauging success and expand that, right? In the short term, giving them the answer is the most expedient way to, get there. But what it does is it creates this never ending cycle, right? I do have eagles on my team, but every time I give them an answer, I'm plucking a feather off their wing. And eventually they can't fly because I plucked them and now they look like a bunch of turkeys. And so over the long term, when I let them maintain ownership of the problem, and I'm going to talk about like how, like the simple way, how to allow them to maintain ownership of the problem. But when I allow them and give them the space to maintain ownership of the problem, in the short term, it's going to take a little longer. It's going to go slower than I want. It's going to go slower than I know it could go if I just gave them the answer. And that's where the discipline comes into play. So that's one, right? I got to expand my time horizon around what success means. And then I've got to shift my perspective to not redefining my success as a manager, not in terms of getting things done, but in terms of developing people. Ding, ding, ding. Give me some hearts in the comments if you believe in developing the people around you. Because like Heather's point earlier, you got to do the thing because you're going to get a bad grade. Sure, in school, I get it. The time horizons are very short. But in business and in management and in life, the time horizon is very, very long. And if you're not developing people, you're like leaving gravy on the table, like for real, for real. And so we got some comments coming in. Let's see what we got. Oh, Mr. Mario. Yes, solid. Thank you, Mario, for that. And folks, if you got any cheat codes or advice, drop it in the comments so that we can share that with the Do the Damn Thing community here. Miss Leslie says, meet them where they are, but don't get sucked into their story. And oh my God, yes, and energy. She also drops this, and this is absolutely, we are responsible rather than assigning blame. And so when I say take ownership, I don't mean take the blame. I mean, take ownership for your part in it, right? When I'm talking about taking ownership for the fact that my team, the people in my group, are underperforming and they're super dependent. Part of that is my fault. Sure, they have some responsibility, but I don't have a lot of control over their responsibility. I got chingos of control on my behavior and my interactions. So we got to take responsibility and not assign blame. Let's see who else we got. We got the delegation point. Oh, look at that. Candace says, I'm such a beautiful gem. I love it. Thank you, sir. And so look, we got some confessions. Edmund says, I know it too well. Leslie says, listen, then own your level of emotional intelligence. Yesenia says, yes, it's so much easier to solve problems for them. Oh man, we got everybody. We got everybody coming in. Keep them coming, folks. Oh, I love it. Oh, look, we got Mr. Abbas showing up. What's up, my brother? All right. So back to the idea. We're switching, right? We're shifting our time horizon from which to view success. And we're also shifting our focus to say, I'm successful if my team grows, not if I win. Yes, I want to win. Believe me, I want to win. But when I add that other element of developing the capabilities of my people, not only will I win, but the amount of wins, the volume, the landscape of wins that we are capable of achieving expands exponentially. But only if I sacrifice the short-term win of giving the answer right now. And Miss Leslie says, they model after you. If you have them figure it out rather than answer, they will start doing that. Mario, excellent. Listen to them first and understand how they are processing. Understand the way they are processing things and ask them, how do they think the problem should be solved? Oh my goodness. Look, Edmund, their development is your obligation if you are leading them. And I love that you throw the if in there, Edmund. For a long time, I was real hard on managers. Say, you're a manager, you're not a leader. You're a manager, you're not a leader. Real critical about managers. And I'm here to tell you, like success in any group, in a business, on a team, whatever, requires both management skills and leadership skills. Management is how do we hit the target? What are the steps? What are the actions? What are the behaviors? What's the performance consequences, whether they comply or deviate from the expectation? That's management. Follow the process, press the buttons, do the things. You must have a skills of management to be successful. Leadership is about developing people, at least in Jesse land. Maybe you see it somewhere differently. But for me, I'm a leader when people follow me. Number one rule, if nobody's following me, I ain't no leader. Number two, am I developing the people in my charge? And so when I do both things, manage and lead, I need both skill sets. And that's how we win. That's how we get there. And so, oh my goodness, here's another one. Jake says, my mentors would never accept a question from me unless I was prepared with a possible answer. Oh my God. All right. So I'm gonna throw a little curveball in here. What I absolutely cannot get behind is the type of manager leader that says, bring me solutions, not problems. Because here's the thing. Most people do not understand how to function and operate in autonomy. Autonomy is a world that they've never experienced. Why? Because rookie ass managers always give them the answer. And so there's a progression of always being told what to do to all of a sudden thinking critically, like engaging our critical thinking, because everybody has critical thinking capability. We as managers and leaders disconnect them from that by giving them the answers all the time, which steals our time. Or maybe not steals our time, but creates this pressure or mountain of work to get done because we're always dealing with the time bandits, because we've been inviting them and feeding the time bandits. So of course, they're going to keep coming back. And so there's a progression. I promise you, like if you're heavy on the answer giving, the solutionizing, the solution shanking, every time somebody comes to you with the situation and you give them the answer, and all of a sudden you're starting to like shift your behavior, they're going to struggle with it. They're going to look at you like you got two heads. Like, wait a minute, what do you mean I don't get free lunch here? It's your fault. You have conditioned them to operate that way. And so in terms of like this, give me a solution, come with three proposals, that's a behavior or a skill that you need to help them develop. So super simple. If you are currently in the eagle feather plucking mindset, or we'll say behavior pattern, if you are compelled to give answers and solve problems for everybody all the time, the first thing you can do or you need to do is ask a question instead of making a statement. I know that sounds super generic, but I promise you it is going to be hard. It's going to make your skin crawl because you're going to have to slow down, right? What you're probably doing right now, I promise, what you're probably doing right now is people bring you a thing and you say, do this, try this, do this, try this, do this, try this. They don't even finish their question or statement and you're giving them the answer. And so what does that feel like? Think about the people in your life that you're talking to, and all of a sudden they say, you should listen to this podcast. You should read this book. You should try this. You're like, bro, I didn't even ask for that. Right? Sometimes people need to process. Them coming to you to talk about a problem is them using their critical thinking. It doesn't necessarily mean that they want an answer, but we default to giving the answer because we want to go fast, because we want to get an A on the assignment. And so the appropriate or the behavioral change is when they come to you with a thing, a problem, situation, ask a question. Make your first three things out of your mouth be questions. And I'm like, here's the writer downers. What have you tried is a really good question. Have you dealt with this before is a really good question. Because when they bring the issue and I say, well, what have you tried? And they say, oh, well, nothing. That's why I'm coming to you. I'm like, oh, okay. Have you dealt with this before? Well, yeah. Okay. What did you do then? How did that work out? right? And so I'm not like pushing them and dismissing them. I'm one, like Mario said earlier, I'm trying to get a feel for like where their thinking is with the situation. And I'm also helping them like pause a little bit and examine their own thinking. That's introducing or reintroducing them to their agency. Now, one common trip hazard that a lot of people have come to terms, especially me, with this new thing, right? Like all of a sudden, like, okay, I'm not going to give answers. I'm going to ask questions. And then I would just ask questions, ask questions, ask questions. And the guys were like, bro, like, what the hell is this? We don't know what we're doing. I actually had one guy tell me, like, Jesse, cut the Jedi bullshit and tell me what to do. Because if you never give like support or at least help them progress on their situation, you lose credibility. And that's what I was doing. And so like one important thing to do is find out, have they been in this situation before? Have they dealt with something similar to the thing that they're dealing with now? If the answer is no, then that's an indicator that I'm probably going to have to give them more direction. Meaning, on one end, it's open-ended questions. So think about the coaching scale. It's a sliding rule. On one end, there's open-ended questioning, curiosity, right? I want to understand what their thinking is. I want to kind of get them on a path to them to make some decisions and connections in their head and take action. But if they don't have any experience doing the thing, if they have low competency on the thing, open-ended questions ain't going to help them get there. It's just going to frustrate the hell out of them. On the other end of that spectrum is telling people what the hell to do, which we're really, really good at. Now, if the person's in imminent danger, right? Like if they're on the edge of the building and they're not tied off, freaking grab them in a chokehold and drag them to safety. Don't open-ended question them to safety. We got to make sure they have the skill, they're safe, and they can do the thing. And so what I want you to think about is when you're teaching a kid to tie their shoes and they've never tied their shoes before, but you tell them, I want solutions, not problems. You're not helping them. If I ask them a bunch of open-ended questions, I'm not helping them because they don't have the fundamental skill set of tying their damn shoe. So I have to be over here on the spectrum and tie their shoes for them because their competency with the skill is low. And yes, I'm using tying shoes, and I know that's kind of kindergarten, but I want you to think about the enormous mountain of skills or tasks that people have to do in the workspace. Do they have the skill set? Have they done it before? If they haven't, I got to demonstrate how to do it. Once I've demonstrated a few times, then we're going to do it collaboratively, right? Like we're going to do it together. I'm going to watch them do it. If they get stuck, I'm going to help them out and help them out and help them out. Do a couple cycles of that. Like, okay. And then the next time I'll say, okay, tie your shoes. And I'm going to watch them just in case they get stuck. If they get stuck, like, hey, remember, well, how'd you do that last time? Oh, yeah, I do. Okay, good. And then after that, once we know we've baked in the fact that they have the skill set, they have competency on the thing, then we go into the open-ended questions and, do you have any proposals? What are you proposing to address here? Like, have you thought about that? Now we've gone down the ladder of introducing people to their agency, helping them get reps of utilizing their critical thinking skills. And most of all, we have let them keep their problems. Now, if you think what I'm saying is voodoo or only exists in a Disney fairy tale, drop a thumbs down in the comments. If you have questions or if you had problems in kind of doing that, let me know in the comments so I could see what I could do. We got about 5 minutes left. My brother, Mr. Jordan, he says construction leaders' job is to build the people who do the building 100%. And I know Jordan is committed to that. We can't, or here's the opposite side of the coin on that one. I'm training my replacement. Like that sounds really cute, but you know how many people I know that are training their replacement are doing the sink or swim method? They just kind of throw them in the deep end of the pool. And when those people ain't successful, guess what? It's a talent problem. No, Or maybe it's a talent problem. And it's likely the talent of developing people problem. Maybe, hopefully that wakes somebody up out there. Mr. Bobby dropping advice says, get their perspective, gather the information and what they're talking about collectively, and use that to make the decision. 100%. Oh, look, we got Miss Rachel. Good morning, Miss Rachel. How you doing? Jeremy makes an excellent point. Leadership is a muscle that must be exercised. Start with your family, kids to get better. Be willing to fail and willing to grow. And I'm going to add, start with yourself, right? Like if you can't lead yourself, what the hell are you doing expecting other people to follow you? Miss Leslie, beautiful distinction between management and leadership. Thank you, Leslie. I stole that from somebody way, way smarter than me. Miss Heather says, I love, what do you think is the best way to handle this? Yeah, what have you tried? What do you think is the best way to handle this? Awesome. What do you need from me? Like that's the launch, fly, little birdie, fly. Like, what do you think is the best thing? Well, I think this is gonna work. Sweet. What do you need from me to do that? Nothing. Okay. Tell me how it goes. Or can you call whatever, right? Can you do something? Absolutely, I can. And it gets us moving down the thing. Mr. Edmund says, oh, yeah, that's a solid, simple, 4 words. What are your options? When people come to you with a thing, what are your options? I bet a lot of times, Edmund, they're like, ooh, I didn't think. Like, okay, good. Let's think about it. That's the game. In terms of developing people over the long term, when we, instead of giving the answers, we let them keep their problems by responding with the question. Oh my goodness, we got so many comments. I'm not even going to be able to get all of them. Oh, Leslie, should. I agree. We shouldn't should on people. Whenever you're saying, well, they should have known, that's an indicator that there was an uncommunicated expectation or an unsecured commitment. So should is it's a red flag I use for me to say, ooh, I had an expectation that didn't get fulfilled. That's on me. Elizabeth says, can you say all this in Spanish so I can share with my people? You know what, Elizabeth? I just found out that my editing software on Descript does translation to other languages. So I'm going to, you know what? This will be a fantastic experiment. I'm going to upload the thing. Please remind me, but just in case, because I might forget, I'm going to run it through and see if I could do it in Spanish. And then you can let me know how good the translation is. And see if I sound as super sexy as I do in English. Let's see. Ooh, Maria Martin says, I literally just bought Velcro shoes for 10 years. I love it. All right, so we got 2 minutes left. I want to recap. Oh my God, look at this. Oh, I wish I could have kept up with all the comments. Thank you all for dropping the so awesome. Miss Lisa says, happy Saturday, everyone. So recap. Let the people keep their problems. Do not take their problems away from them. How do we take problems away from people? We solutionize, we solution shank, we give them answers, and that creates dependency. And dependency is disruptive to us learning, growing, and leading the team or the business. Oh, we got Mario. Mario says, I could translate for you. And so that's the problem that we're discussing. Why is that important? Because every time people come to us for the answers, because we're the answer givers, it disrupts our focus fuel. We spend a little extra focus fuel and we're not able to execute on the things that we want to be executing on. That's our fault. We have some responsibility in it and we can do something about it. What's the answer? The answer is, when they bring you a problem, and this could be your kids, your significant other, your family, colleagues, friends, it doesn't matter. Practice this. This is the answer, and keep score. When somebody brings you a problem, ask them a question. Don't respond in a statement. That's the first step. That'll get you kindergarten, that'll get you graduated to middle school. If you can build the habit of first responding with a question. And here are 2 questions, particularly to use in your personal space. Do you want me to solve the problem, or are you just venting? That's a really, really good one. All my exes are going to say, yeah, dummy, I wish you would have asked me that a long time ago. Instead of going into problem solving and giving answers, ask the question. Do you want me to solve the problem, or are you just venting? That's a reasonable question to ask because it's going to inform how I should behave. The other question to like, if you can't come up with your own, use this one. What have you tried before? If you just start doing that and start taking a tally, how many times have people present a situation and you gave them an answer versus how many times they presented a situation and you asked a question? You want the question score to keep going up. And if you want more like insight and cheat codes and tips and tricks on how to deal with that, hit me up, because there's a group of amazing people that I work with monthly with emotional bungee jumpers. And we've got the Do the Damn Thing Time Mastery Workshop for other things to help you expand your influence and make yourself a priority, take better care of yourself, and have a good time doing it. So again, I appreciate all of y'all very much for jumping in the comments and letting me know that that I'm not wasting my time. I appreciate y'all, and we'll see you again soon. Peace. Chicken banana.